Xenophanes, for example. Men make gods in their own image. Those of the Ethiopians are black and snub-nosed. Those of the Thracians have blue eyes and red hair. If horses or oxen or lions had hands and could produce works of art, they too would represent the gods after their own fashion. Hand in hand with skepticism about the gods goes a willingness to consider new accounts of the origin and nature of the world. In particular, the search for a new substance or principle which might be the basis and explanation of everything we see. Around the time of Xenophanes, we find Thales declaring that everything is made of water. For Heraclitus, the universal substance was fire, and for Anaximenes, air. According to Pythagoras, all things are numbers. In the view of Parmenides, the essential reality is the one, without beginning or end, unchanging. And for Anaximander, it is the boundless. It is not easy to be sure precisely what was meant by such assertions. In most cases, we do not have the writings of the men themselves, merely an account of their lives and a handful of their sayings, given us by Diogenes Laertius, who probably lived in the 3rd century A.D., i.e., 600 or 700 years after the people he is recording. Diogenes has a chatty, approachable style of writing, allied, as we can see from his account of Plato, to no great depth of philosophical understanding. So what he tells us about the Pre-Socratics tends to raise more questions than it answers. But since it is all we have for what must be regarded as the beginning of European philosophy, and since the material is entertaining in itself, it is worth listening to a few extracts. This is from Book 1 on Thales.
After engaging in politics, he became a student of nature. According to some, he left nothing in writing, for the nautical astronomy attributed to him is said to be by Phocas of Samos. Callimachus knows him as the discoverer of the Ursa Minor, for he says in his iambics, "Who first of men the course made plain of those small stars we call the Wain, whereby Phoenicians sail the main." But according to others, he wrote nothing but 2 treatises, one on the solstice and one on the equinox, regarding all other matters as incognizable. He seems by some accounts to have been the first to study astronomy, the first to predict eclipses of the sun, and to fix the solstices. So Eudemus in his History of Astronomy. It was this which gained for him the admiration of Xenophanes and Herodotus, and the notice of Heraclitus and Democritus. And some, including Koirilus the poet, declare that he was the first to maintain the immortality of the soul. He was the first to determine the sun's course from solstice to solstice, and according to some, the first to declare the size of the sun to be 1/720th part of the solar circle, and the size of the moon to be the same fraction of the lunar circle. He was the first to give the last day of the month the name of 30th, and the first, some say, to discuss physical problems. Aristotle and Hippias affirm that, arguing from the magnet and from amber, he attributed a soul or life even to inanimate objects. Pamphila states that, having learnt geometry from the Egyptians, he was the first to inscribe a right-angled triangle in a circle, whereupon he sacrificed an ox. Others tell this tale of Pythagoras, amongst them Apollodorus the arithmetician. It was Pythagoras who developed to their furthest extent the discoveries attributed by Callimachus in his iambics to Euphorbus the Phrygian, scalene triangles and whatever else has to do with theoretical geometry. Thales is also credited with having given excellent advice on political matters. For instance, when Croesus sent to Miletus offering terms of alliance, he frustrated the plan, and this proved the salvation of the city, when Cyrus obtained the victory. Heraclides makes Thales himself say that he had always lived in solitude as a private individual and kept aloof from state affairs. Some authorities say that he married and had a son, Cibisthus, others that he remained unmarried and adopted his sister's son, and that when he was asked why he had no children of his own, he replied, because he loved children. The story is told that when his mother tried to force him to marry, he replied it was